Good evening. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Chopra. Now, even as the Citizenship Amendment Act came into effect 6 days ago, the politics and protests around it refused to die down. Shaheen Bagh, a locality that even perhaps a Delhiite would not have heard of before, has become synonymous with the anti-CAA movement across India. For the past 1 month, thousands of protesters, led mostly by Muslim women, many of whom happen to be homemakers, have actually occupied a stretch of the main road near Shaheen Bagh, a road that connects Delhi and Faridabad to Noida. Hundreds of men, women and children continue to brave the cold and sit on dharnas in Shaheen Bagh. The demand is very simple: rollback of the CAA. Today, a group of Punjab farmers joined the protesters with cooking gas and stoves, huge utensils. Within an hour, a langar was actually up and running. The group of farmers has come to show solidarity with the protesters, and it's not just this group that's inspired. The Shaheen Bagh protest has actually inspired similar such protests in other parts of India as well. While the cops have now begun a dialogue with the protesters to shift base to another location, several battles are also pending before the courtrooms. Kerala government became the first state to pass a resolution against CAA and also challenged the act before the Supreme Court. The Kerala government has filed a suit challenging CAA, stating that it is violative of Articles 14, which deals with equality before the law, Article 21, which deals with protection of life and personal liberty, and Article 25, which deals with freedom of religion within the Indian Constitution. And they also believe that it is against the secular fabric of the nation. It also challenges the Passport Entry to India Amendment Rules of 2015 and Foreigners Amendment Order of 2015. A day later, the Chhattisgarh government actually followed suit. So both the governments have now filed their challenges under Article 131 of the Indian Constitution. Let me just shed some light on what Article 131 is all about. It actually deals with original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Subject to the provisions of the Constitution, it states that the Supreme Court shall, to the exclusion of any other court, have original jurisdiction in any dispute between the Government of India and one or more states, or between the Government of India and any state or states on one side and one or more states on the other side, or between two or more states, if and so far as the dispute involves any question on which the existence or extent of a legal right depends. So while that is the case that some of the states are now trying to build, there are actually several other petitions which are also independently have been filed before the Supreme Court, which the Apex Court will be hearing on a date decided for the future, calling for an end to violence before the court can actually hear the matter. Meanwhile, the Kerala governor has entered the fray as well today. He's upset that the state didn't keep him in the loop before challenging CAA before the Supreme Court, and he's now determined to find if the state has the power to do so, to go ahead without his permission. So, a long story cut short, the controversy around the CAA refuses to die down. From the streets to the courtrooms, everyone's hands are full now trying to deal with the unrest and the petitions. But one thing is very clear: with the government now adamant on its decision and showing absolutely no signs of rolling back the act or even making further amendments, the hope of those who are disturbed now lie with the Supreme Court. We open up this conversation, what the protests and the politics mean. Shaina NC of the BJP joins us on the broadcast. Nishant Verma, political analyst, with us as well. Sumit with me in the studio. And Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, with me in the studio as well. And Ilyas Safruddin joins us on the broadcast as well. I have to ask you, Shaina, let me begin. Now, protests continue to go on in Shaheen Bagh. They continue to go on in several other parts of India as well.
Yes.
Is there a way that has been developed or envisaged on how these protesters can be assuaged? How their fears can be handled?
First and foremost, in a country as large and diverse as India, you're bound to have protests, agitations on multiple issues which are welcome. And they are legitimate voices of dissent which can express their opinion. But there are certain fundamental questions that need to be raised. What are you protesting about? CAA is not about citizenship of any Indian. It is about those who want citizenship of India and following due process of law. I want to ask, this so-called standoff that you're talking about, the center and the state, the Home Minister spent 119 hours in this draft bill drafting it to make sure that 140 NGOs are consulted with, chief ministers of all states, and you had, along with that, all the submissions given by people. Now, if you're having an agitation, the Shaheen Bagh agitation, I would want to say, why wouldn't you take permission or prior permission? Or is it your fiefdom to inconvenience public at large? And is it your right only to spread rumors and myths about CAA, NRC, etc.? Do understand that every Indian citizen, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Jain, Parsi, are all protected, and people who've been here 2014, since prior to that, have nothing to worry about. People who want to avail of Indian citizenship, as you would do in any other country. Tomorrow, if I go to Denmark, Sweden, America, Canada, wherever, don't you follow a due process of law? So what is this agitation? I am appalled at the kind of miscommunication of people vis-a-vis people. Our Prime Minister has spoken, the Home Minister has spoken, and there you have fuel being added to the fire by all these chief ministers who are only playing appeasement politics. We don't want politics.
So we'll deal with that one by one, because I'm glad that you yourself have raised those points, that there is very clear miscommunication. I want to ask then, Nishant Verma, let me rope you into the conversation. I want to ask you, who do you think has really added to this miscommunication, that there has been some sort of miscommunication or some sort of misunderstandings over what the CAA is, and several people now also coming out and talking and linking it with several other things? Who would you hold responsible for this miscommunication?
Surprising that today I heard a BJP spokesperson say misinformation or misunderstanding or something, which is not that she comes up and says that the opposition is instigating for political gains. Amazing. Shaina ji, thank you. The narrative changed today, I suppose. See, what happens is, Devika ji, that miscommunication is on part of Government of India, because as rightly pointed out by her, she may know that the Home Minister has consulted A, B, C. But the message was not trickled down to Aam Insan of this country. So bottom line, whoever is on the roads, forget only Shaheen Bagh, there are several cities even today which are not so happy. Look at Bangalore. Every second day you see hundreds and thousands of people protesting. Look at other cities. I need not name every and any. The question arises that when Mr. Home Minister, especially in the Parliament, on TV channels and so on, and different occasions, continuously explained that this particular law was only for the minorities in Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, and especially those who were persecuted. The Gazette does not show the phrase persecuted or compelled. Now what they have done, they have put a particular section regarding foreigners, the Passport Act. How do you try to play with law, ma'am? And so why do you want to play with law?
So
because bottom line, I'm sorry, just 5 more seconds. Bottom line, the act simply talks about the minorities in these 3 neighboring countries and not persecuted. Reason being, Passport Act and Foreigners Act does not define my citizenship. Ma'am, the country is educated enough.
I'm
not stupid enough to not understand.
I'm going to give Shaina, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to respond. Just a second. I want to bring in all the other people as well on the broadcast. Sumit, Peer and Joyita, if I can just get in a quick word from you as well. Who would you hold responsible for this miscommunication or confusion that has really now somewhere added to this fear perception, which of course is no doubt being politicized. It's being used as political fodder. But who would you then hold responsible? And then we'll also try to talk about solutions, please. So, first.
Devika ji, the point number 1 is what I said yesterday on the debate also. Shaheen Bagh is not Delhi and Delhi is not Shaheen Bagh. There are more than 1,000 colonies like Shaheen Bagh. Let me give you some interesting facts about Shaheen Bagh. Shaheen Bagh is a colony which is on Yamuna's catchment. It's an encroached land. It has not been regularized in the current colonies now. Now, there was yesterday on your debate, there was a gentleman with me who was from a RWA. They say our women are not able to go out, our kids are not able to go to school. They have blocked that area, they have blocked that road. If they want to protest, let them go to a Gandhi Maidan or any legitimate place and protest. There's no problem in that. But what is this about protest, gherowing the road, not letting the traffic to flow in? Why should I spend 4 hours to come to Noida from that area? Who will pay for my petrol? Who will pay for my time? Who will pay for my inconvenience? And if these people have a democratic right to protest, what about those 999 colonies, the students, the women, the children, the office goers whose democratic rights they are abusing? Why should they do it? The problem is if you start doing that, it is political, and we have the Congress leaders going there and doing their bit of politics. So which is very much evident, Mr. Manish Shankarayan and all. We don't need to talk about it. Everybody knows, the whole media has covered it. So this Dharna is okay as long as it does not disrupt the people, it does not kind of cause inconvenience to other people. But if you're holding a piece of road to ransom and you're not letting traffic pass through, even there are ambulances, there are media vans, children have to go to school. My fundamental point is, what about the democratic rights of those 999 colonies? So why they have to pay for this?
Several people have been suffering for the past 1 month as well. Joyita, come in there, and then I'll bring in Ilyas.
I would say, 900, not just 999, because we know what is going on over there is just because it is disrupting traffic from Noida to Delhi. A large section, what has happened, lakhs of vehicles, if DND flyway used to cater to say 2.5 lakh cars earlier. Now it is catering to 5 to 6 lakh cars. It is complete traffic mayhem. There is spillover, and in fact South Delhi is choked most of the days. Do you think this is the kind of inconvenience you put the general public through, and it's huge area that has been affected, and then you glorify it that as a huge protest going on. You think the public, you will find support from the public? That is why this whole CAA thing is not even, it does not have any resonance among the public. It is in certain small pockets. And having said that, there's a lot of politicization is going on, and I'm pretty certain this whole thing will be resolved by the time the Delhi elections. It's all up to the Delhi elections.
Okay, Nishant, I'll give you an opportunity. Let me just bring in Ilyas Safruddin as well. Ilyas Safruddin, given that yes, it is a genuine protest and everybody has the right to sit on a protest, sit on a dharna, ideally it should have been done in a way or in a manner through which the other citizens of Delhi were not being impacted, because let's be honest, we've been impacted for the past 1 month now. So given that that is the reality, and also agreeing that there has been a major miscommunication, be it from the center, be it from the other politicians, from the opposition, my question then, Ilyas, is that there has to be some sort of solution or method to assuage the protesters. How do we engage with the people then?
See, you need to understand, basically right from the ground till the top, why the people are agitated against this particular law. Because it goes against the essence and the soul of the Constitution, where it assures equality, justice based on religion, caste and creed. And this particular draconian law affects that and just try to alienate a particular people of a particular religious background from this particular facility of citizenship. Now, right from the bottom, a small hawker, till the top, entrepreneurs, judges, bureaucrats, technocrats, businessmen, and all the IPS officers, IAS, you will find many people involved in this protest. And right from Assam till Kerala, millions and millions of Indian citizens are involved, because they think that this particular law is going to divide their nation further, and
Ilyas,
it is dividing
it,
and we have seen it, how it is affecting our unity, our business, etc.
Right, they think. Now, I have a quick follow-up question from you, and I'm going to get Shana a chance to respond as well. But Ilyas, then I want to ask you that my question then is, firstly, you said the operative words there being that they think that it will divide. But would you agree with me at least on the fact that it is not taking away the citizenship of anybody who already resides in India as a citizen of India, and secondly, the CAA actually has changed the normalization process for the people of one particular community, and based on that it can be called discriminatory. But one can't say that tomorrow if a Muslim applies for citizenship in India, they'll never get it. Would you at least agree with me on that much? Okay, I seem to have lost him just at that moment. Nishant wanted to come in there, but Nishant, let me then take that question to you, right? I just want to ask you, would you agree with me at least on those 2 points?
Good question, but I would like to start by telling the viewers that I completely disagree with what Sameer and Joyita ji were impressing upon about the roadblock. The Honorable High Court has already adjudicated your worries and said, ask the police to go and talk to the agitators and the people who are doing dharna over there. So I don't think so we should be trying to overrule the Honorable High Court
Nobody's
in
trying
any
to overrule.
So let's not.
No, nobody's trying to overrule. The fact of the matter is that for a month, Nishant,
people are angry.
People are angry, and rightly so.
So that is where
Thank
the
you.
program last day.
Thank you.
not being
So-
able to go to school.
Who said, "यार हमारी जिंदगी रुक गई है." And you know, then we can have a
Right,
scenario
right.
tomorrow.
Like I said,
What
okay,
about the
okay,
pro-CA
all right.
protest
Sumit
in
and Joyita,
Lakshmi Nagar,
okay.
they
So that's
All right,
exactly.
okay. Let's not. We won't be
Thank you
talking
for
over
that.
each other.
And
Thank
2
you.
hours, 6 hours, 6 minutes
Thank
distance
you.
now takes 2 hours to
Ji.
cover.
Okay,
Ji,
Nishant,
thank you.
those are practical concerns. So let's
No,
not try
I'll-
to throw them under the rug or say that, okay, this is not important.
Okay, allow me to complete
Okay,
my
yeah.
statement. Thank you for this reaction. This is exactly what will happen when CAA plus NRC will happen. You have a problem with 500,000 cars instead of 250,000 on the DND. You have a problem with, yes, I am also part of it, in number of people, traveling, taking extra distance, paying petrol. Imagine of those millions of Muslims in this country, which you don't want to foresee, I'm fine with that, who after the NRC is brought in post CAA, chronology ko samajiye, if you actually can understand that, these millions who will not have documents. I don't have a document, I'll still remain here. My name is Nishant Verma. But they will be in the foreign tribunals day in, day out, spending billions of rupees
I'm going to give you
and
I'm
not
gonna
being
give
able
both
to
of you a
do
chance.
this. This is exactly what.
NRC
This is
is
scaremongering,
not even being
nothing
talked
more
This
than
is exactly what.
scaremongering.
You think millions
One
of
second,
Indians
Sumit
are
and
foolish?
Joyita. Okay, I'm
Even
going to ask
being
everybody to calm down. 1 second,
you
please.
can't take that cure.
We
Yeah.
have a
That is not
BJP
the cue.
spokesperson
We
on the
understand
broadcast.
the
Sumit,
politics of
no,
BJP well.
can't,
NRC
please.
is not even being talked, sir. It's not even concept.
Okay, no,
it's not on
Sumit,
papers also.
okay, let's
Chronology
give
samajh
Shaina a
leta.
chance to answer. Shaina, like I said, this is the reason why I started the debate with that question, that there is some confusion, some great confusion that has been created, and it has been used. It has been misused, grossly misused by the opposition, several leaders of the opposition, to create this sort of fear-mongering. Shaina, I'm going to give you a chance to respond to that. What is it that the government should be doing right now? Is there a plan in place? All right, we'll bring in Shaina in just a moment, but Joyita, you were making a point.
The point of the matter is, you see, you cannot justify what is going on in the name of what may happen. How do you know that it is going to happen? And considering this is our country, I mean, frankly, we have more faith in our democratic institutions and our courts and our people to that, and frankly, what exactly are we talking about? As one gentleman from the minority community was speaking, I mean, a Gujarati speaking Muslim, how will he be affected by NRC when the whole thing is being directed at infiltrators who are coming in from Bengal, Bangladesh. So, I mean, have some common sense. And this NRC has not even been, no draft has been created.
Nishant, okay,
so what
let's
exactly,
leave
why
the
is there
theatrics out.
Give me 5 seconds.
Let's
why
leave the
is
It will
there
not take more.
scaremongering?
Let's leave the theatrics
Whom
out
should
of
I
this.
believe? Whom should I believe? Joyita ji or my home minister?
Okay, believe whoever. Okay,
I believe my
Nishant,
home
okay,
minister.
like I said, let's
I
please
can make a
stop
quick
the
point.
theatrics,
I
because
believe
then other
my
people
home
will pull
minister.
out several
I
other
don't believe
videos.
anyone
I
else.
also am a media
I
where Modi ji
began-
said that NRC की तो
Sumit,
बात ही नहीं है.
1 second. I began the
कैसे क्या होता है?
conversation.
It's
I
not about
began the
videos, sir.
conversation.
That's exactly who is miscommunicating.
No, it's, if
the
you
home
don't-
minister of the
Sumit P and
country.
Nishant Verma, I can't
if
have
you-
this conversation. Maybe this works on other channels, but it doesn't work here. Okay, we try to look at the problem and we try to find a solution here.
Okay.
That's the format that we
so let's
follow.
not paint
Let's
it
stick
blue.
to that. Let's leave the theatrics for elsewhere, because like I said, you'll pull out one video, Sumit will pull out another,
This is
Joyita
a
will pull out a
fact of the
third.
matter.
Okay, fine. You've put out the fact of the matter.
I can
Then
also
my
pull up 3
question
videos,
is,
that won't help.
my question is, Sumit, you were making a point, make
I
that
was
and then I'm going to
making,
ask.
one quick, Devgaji. You see, if the Honorable Home Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of the country who has such a mandate has come and clearly said NRC ki to bhai baat hi nahi ho rahi, not even a draft is ready. A lot of BJP spokespersons have told, now we have to believe the government of the day when they say NRC is not even being conceptualized as on date, right? So how are we contemplating and casting aspersions on something which is futuristic? To me, NRC is like a metaphor today. So tomorrow we say the aliens from Mars will attack and the world will be decimated. So it will become like a Hollywood movie when a meteor might come and hit the earth and we all will go. So these are all metaphors. We cannot infer things on that. We have to trust the Prime Minister.
Okay.
We have to trust the Honorable Home Minister because they are democratically elected and
Okay.
they are 1.3 billion log ke Pradhan Mantri. Bhai, mere thodi na. I'm not anybody special.
Yes,
Nishan ji, neither you
I'll
are
give you a
anybody
chance. Now, the
paraya. We are
reason-
all the same.
Now, there's a reason. There's a reason why I started the debate asking who should be held responsible for this miscommunication and what really is it that we need to do to reach out to the people protesting and let them know that, they somewhere need to calm down in a manner that they're not affecting the lives of other people as well. Now, Nishant, you've shown us some video and now you've also, you've been laughing at what the other panelists have had to say. But my question to you is, what should the government do now? What
First
would you
of all,
suggest?
take a recourse correction path.
They're not going to
The
do that.
Honorable Home Minister,
They've made it very clear that they're not going to do that.
So they'll fall. What else? The country knows how to take care of such kind of hard-headed, unwarranted decisions, while the Honorable Home Minister kept on talking how it will work, and then it took a Prime Minister to shut him up. I'm sorry, this doesn't work.
Okay.
So they will need a course correction. If they are hard-headed of not doing.
Who decides what is the course correction? Does the opposition, which is right now desperate for power and basically surviving totally on the basis of miscommunication? Hold on, can I just speak?
Yeah.
Sure.
Totally on the basis of miscommunication. Is it the opposition that decides that what is course correction? Because you see, when you are talking about, you are talking about an act that has been passed through Parliament, and it is an act that is affecting lots of people's lives positively. You think the ground will take it well if they now take it back just because what is the kind of talk that is going on the ground? You are showing us Shaheen Bagh, one Shaheen Bagh. We can show you 20,000 colonies and where the talk is exactly against Shaheen Bagh.
I would like to answer
Okay.
that.
Nishant, quick answer, then Sumit, I'll give you a chance.
sure.
Nishant,
Quick
quickly answer
is,
that. Keep it short,
When
please.
she talks about opposition, I fail to understand whether she's talking state assemblies or the center. So if she's only talking about the center, it's fine, because in state assemblies, most of them, 30% is all what BJP's got, 70% is ruled by your called opposition. Now comes who will decide that? Definitely the recourse correction will be decided by the current government and dispensation. Nobody else. If they will not do, the courts will help him do it.
Okay.
And that's the reason
All right.
matters
And
are
then
pending in the
now
court.
my last
Wanting to
question.
hear
Okay, before.
What about that?
Till the time
Okay.
you don't bring,
All
till
right.
the time you don't
Sumit,
bring
make your
things
point,
in
then I
order.
want one last
Your
question.
responsibility.
One last
Devika
question,
ji,
then I'll take a remark from
It's very
everyone.
evident that nobody has a right to violence. Nobody can take law in its own hands. It's something which is done by the Parliament of the democracy of India, which is the biggest democracy in the world. So better everybody listen to it. If you have issues, you can go to the Honorable Supreme Court, and whatever they decide, I'm sure that will be acceptable to all. That has to be acceptable to all. But showing one Shaheen Bagh, and you cannot shut down that 99.9% of the silent majority. I have one quick point. What if tomorrow there is a Lakshmi Nagar who comes up and blocks ITO, one more colony blocks Nizamuddin, then you shut down Delhi pro CA? Then do you want to make it camps? How many camps you have? How many camps we have?
I have
it's not about that.
Okay, I have 30 seconds left. I want a quick yes or no from everybody sitting on the panel right now, starting with Nishant. Nishant, do you think that ultimately these protests or the protesters' fears will subside based on what the Supreme Court says?
Yes. What
All
the
right.
Supreme Court says, yes.
Okay, so as per Nishant, the hope now lies with the Supreme Court. Sumit, do you agree?
I agree with Nishanji. No worries.
All
I'm
right,
fully with the
Joyita?
Supreme
Yeah,
Court.
can I say here, this has nothing to do with what the Supreme Court will say or not say, which may be in a very long time. It is not. Shaheen Bagh cannot continue forever. This is I'm talking specifically in the context of
More you
Shaheen
say,
Bagh.
more it
It
will
has to totally do with Delhi Assembly elections. It is being funded by a political party. We all know what is going on, and it is an attempt to polarize the minority vote. We all know that
File a
AAP is
petition.
not
Why
talking
don't you
about
do that if you have so
CAA.
much of it?
We all know the Muslim vote is not going to BJP. It is an attempt by one particular party to corner the Muslim vote, the minority vote, and this party is concentrating on certain minority dominated seats in Delhi, and this whole Shaheen Bagh thing is likely to get over in a 3 weeks time when the Delhi elections are done.
Okay, so like any other thing in this country, only time will tell us what will happen. But at least we agree on certain things that perhaps, yes, of course, everybody has the right to protest, everybody has the right to sit on dharnas, but perhaps it needs to be done in a manner in the future so that the other citizens who may not agree with the cause are not affected or impacted by it, which is something that has been a reality for people living in Delhi, Faridabad and Noida, trying to commute from Delhi, Faridabad to Noida and back. They have been impacted in a very real way in the past 1 month. So perhaps the solution needs to come up, and protesters sitting in Shaheen Bagh need to take that into consideration. Like I said, dialogues have already begun by the Delhi police, by the cops with the protesters, and hopefully we will see that situation just becoming better in a few days. And ultimately, of course, a lot will depend on what the Supreme Court finally says when it does decide to hear the several independent petitions and also the state government's challenges before it. But until then, we wrap up this debate, and I thank all of my panelists for joining us this evening.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.